Russian Doll was the surprise hit of January, and the show seemed to come out of nowhere to sweep the board as the best program of the month. Whilst the whole thing ended perfectly and there probably isn't a need for a follow-up, we all know deep down that Netflix won't let this one go off into the parade and that they'll have plans for a sequel. Obviously, hype is quite high for its return, and with Natasha Lyonne admitting that it was originally pitched as a 3-season show, it seems very likely. But what direction will the show take, and when can we expect its release? Well, throughout this video I'll be breaking down everything that you need to know about the potential second season of Russian Doll, as well as what I think will happen in it. There will be some spoilers here in regards to the first season, so if you don't want to know anything about it, then I highly suggest that you turn off now. But with that out the way, I'm Definition, and welcome to the channel where I watch it so you don't have to. Okay, so firstly, if the show is renewed, then I imagine that it will have a release of January 2020 to coincide with the annual schedule that Netflix tends to stick to. You can tell by the promotion on the app that they already know what kind of hit they have on their hands, so I imagine that they've already got the second season script done and they'll begin shooting in the summer. As the seasons are just 8 half-hour episodes, this makes it far easier in terms of shooting and editing, especially with the reuse of locations. So if we're lucky, we may even get it just in time for Christmas. Obviously, the next big thing that most people want to know is what could happen in the second season. Well, there's a couple of different scenarios that I've fleshed out, similar to how Nadia would, to see all possible outcomes we could get. The first direction that the show could take comes from your opinion of the ending. If you think that the timelines merge, then the first question is, what timeline are they in? Are they in Alan's versions of the events or Nadia's? If it's the former, then the second season will most likely take the perspective of Alan and flesh out his full backstory, as Nadia's already had that. If it's the latter, then it could showcase more of Nadia's past beyond the glimpses that we got. Juxtaposing this, if you think that the timelines didn't merge, then we will have an offshoot of both versions of the couples going off down their own paths. This would be interesting as it could showcase perhaps one successful relationship and one failing one, all based on a single moment, say similar to Sliding Doors. This would definitely be extremely interesting to watch, but it also may be very difficult for the creators to juggle, as convolution could be a big enemy here. The third possibility comes from the line that Nadia says in the show that states there may be an infinite amount of timelines. As Nadia and Alan have already had their happy ending, we could follow one of the timelines where they never met and see just how different their lives could have been without each other. Who knows, they may even come together at the end. But this does seem like a slight retread, and it would sort of put the viewers in their own time loop, so I can't imagine this being the case. Another possibility, and the one that opens up the most amount of options, is if the show completely scraps Nadia and Alan and starts with brand new characters who find themselves stuck in a time loop. The actors could easily return to the show and play different people, similar to what we see in American Horror Story, and this would allow for a new setting and scenarios. Personally, I think that this would be the best way to go. As I said earlier, Nadia and Alan have already had their perfect send-off, and I would rather see a new group of people figuring themselves out rather than the ones who've already gained closure. Obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the second season and what you think could happen in it. Make sure you leave them in the comments below and check out my breakdown of the show's ending, which will be linked after this video. If you missed yesterday's video on the plot recap of this year's other time loop franchise, Happy Death Day, then don't worry because it'll be linked at the end. This is a channel for people who are never missing television, so if that's the kind of thing you like, you need to subscribe to Definition. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this. You've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.